Good morning, everyone. Get my feet out of this. Welcome to Storytime, and a very good morning to all of you. I'm so glad that you're here. Some of you might be a little bit confused about why we're doing Storytime virtually this week. Well, that's because we wanted to make sure all of our guests and our staff and our volunteers are comfortable and safe. So Storytime from now on will be virtual until further notice, just so we can help everybody get a good experience and enjoy Storytime, even if they decide to stay at home. So this week, my name is Lyndzee, by the way. I'll be doing Storytime for you this week. And this week, I decided to do the book Ant Cities, written and illustrated by Arthur Dorros, because tomorrow, during our outdoor play event that starts at 10 a.m. in front of the building, we're going to be playing with dirt, and I hope a bunch of you can come out and can play with some dirt with us. So with that, I'll get started on the book. And again, this is Ant Cities, written and illustrated by Arthur Dorros. I love ants. They're so cool. They're geniuses. All right. There's a nice big ant hill. You can see them carrying little stuff up there. Have you seen ants busy running over a hill of dirt? They may look like they are just running around, but the ants built that hill to live in, and each ant has work to do. Some ants may disappear into a small hole in the hill. The hole is the door to their nest. Some ant hills even have the hole at the very top of their nest. These are harvester ants. Their nest is made of lots of brooms and tunnels. These little insects made them all. It's crazy to think that something so small can make something so big. When it is sunny, the top of the nest gets warm. When it rains, water runs off the hill. And if it gets too wet near the top of the nest, the ants move down below. In winter, the ants hibernate in a deep room away from the cold. They stay together in a ball to keep warm. Underneath the hill, there may be miles of tunnels and hundreds of rooms. The floors are worn smooth by thousands of ant feet. It is dark inside the nest, but the ants stay nice and cozy. In the rooms of the nest, worker ants do many different kinds of work. It is like a city, a busy city of ants. That's a good way to describe that. Some ants have brought in food to the ant city. These harvester ants like seeds. A worker ant cracks the husks off the seeds. Another worker will take the husks outside to throw away. The ants chew the seeds to get the juices out. Then they feed the juices to other ants. Other workers store seeds for the ants to eat another time. Not all ants store food, but harvester ants do. Some of you have probably seen ants in your kitchen or ants on the sidewalk. A lot of those ants are actually out exploring and looking for good food sources to take back to their little colony. In one room of the nest, a queen ant lays eggs. Workers carry the eggs away to other rooms to take care of them. Each ant city has to have at least one queen. Without a queen, there would be no ant city. All the other ants in the ant city grow from the eggs the queen lays. So the queen is the only ant that actually lays the eggs. It's a lot of work. At first, the tiny eggs grow into larvae. The worker ants feed the larvae and lick them clean so they will grow well. The larvae grow into pupa. The workers keep grooming the pupa until they grow into adults. So these ants, you can see they're keeping these nice and clean, and they're keeping pests off of those larvae so that the baby ants that are inside of here can turn into big ants. The queen ant lays thousands and thousands of eggs. Most of the eggs grow into worker ants. There may be only one queen ant in an ant city, but there can be thousands of workers. Here's the queen. The queen is usually bigger than the other ants. And she lays eggs that grow into the workers. And workers are all females. They do the work in the ant city. They will also fight to protect the nest. The queen may lay eggs that grow into new queens, and new queens have wings. They use them to fly away to start a new ant city. Their wings drop off, and then the queens can start laying her eggs. The queen may also lay eggs that grow into males. Now, the male ants don't live in the nest for very long. They fly away with the new queens to mate, and then they die. They might be short-lived, but they play a very important role. So queen ants and males flying off to go mate. Workers with the larvae, they're inside of there. Workers with the pupa. This little ant is carrying an egg to the nursery. There's the queen with workers as she lays more eggs. There's all kinds of stuff going on in here. There's a worker taking a rest. There's a winter room. I bet this is where they go when it starts to get really cold outside and food is getting short. They carry dirt out of the nest in some places. They're probably expanding and digging a new tunnel. They're sharing food with each other, and they're storing seeds. Some are even out collecting seeds, and some are taking that food and preparing it to be stored away and throwing the other bits outside. The queen doesn't tell the workers what to do, but the workers are busy. Each ant has work to do. Ants work together to keep the whole ant city alive. So they work together as a team, and that's the big important part, is that they all work together. Workers make the nest bigger by digging new rooms and tunnels. They use their feet to dig like tiny dogs. Workers pick up pieces of dirt in their jaws and beards and carry them outside. I didn't know ants had beards. That's kind of crazy. Dirt from the digging is what makes the anthill. Ants are great diggers and builders. Imagine all the tiny pieces of dirt it takes to build a hill that's 2 feet high. That's huge. That's bigger than my little dog. Harvester ants' hills can be 2 feet high and 6 feet across. Many other ants build smaller hills. This anthill is 6 feet across. That is longer than I am, which is huge. I can't even imagine seeing an anthill that big. Out around the harvester anthill, workers look for food. Harvester ants mostly eat seeds, but sometimes they eat insects too. Ants can bite and sting other insects to capture them or to protect themselves. Be careful because some kinds of ants can bite or sting you too. Harvester ants will bite or sting if you disturb their nest. The good news is that all these ants that this book is talking about, the ones that could bite or sting you, really will only do it if they feel like they need to defend themselves. Ants use their antennas to help them find food. They touch and smell with their antennas. They have special combs on their legs that help them keep their antenna clean. And they rub those antennae on those special combs to get anything off of them. And ants can even talk to each other by touching antennae. Usually they use chemicals to help them communicate with each other. If one ant finds food, others follow. Soon there will be a lot of ants carrying away lunch. If one ant can't carry something, others may help. But each worker ant is strong. An ant can lift as much as 50 times its own weight. If people could lift like that, we could each lift a car. That's really impressive. The workers carry the food back to the ant city, and ants share the food that they find. So again, there's that teamwork thing coming in. They go out and they find food, and then they share it with everyone. Ants eat many foods, but different kinds of ants like different foods. There are over 10,000 kinds of ants. That's a lot of different ants. So some of these ants eat juices from the insects that they kill, like these guys. They'll kill insects and then suck all the juicy bits out. Cornfield ants like to eat the sweet juices or the honeydew that they get from aphids. Aphids suck these juices from plants, and then the ants milk the aphids for honeydew. That's pretty wild. Carpenter ants especially like sweet juices they can get from insects and from plants too. Thief ants eat sweets and other food they find in people's houses and lying about. I'm pretty sure I've had some of these ants in my house before. Leaf-cutting ants, or parasol ants, make underground gardens with leaves they cut, and they grow mushrooms in those gardens for food. Army ants travel in large groups like armies. They devour huge numbers of insects, including termites. The different kinds of ants have found many ways to make their cities so they can live in many different kinds of places. Janitor ants make their nests in hollowed-out tree twigs. The soldier janitor ant, a kind of worker ant, has a big plug-shaped head it can use for a door. That's amazing. I've never come across these before. I don't even know if they're in Kansas, to be honest with you, but these are really cool. They live inside twigs, and this guy has a big flat-shaped head that he uses as a plug to plug up this hole. It's amazing. Many kinds of ants make hills or mounds. If you haven't seen harvester ant hills, maybe you've seen the round-topped hills that formica ants make. Sometimes they cover their hills with thatch. Thatch is just some material that they use to cover it up and help it blend in. Or you may have seen pavement ants. They can live under the sidewalk. Pavement ants are tiny ants, about 1/8 of an inch long. That's really, really small. I don't even like that small. Harvester ants are about 1/4 inch long, and some ants are as big as 2 inches. I'm not very good at, that's probably about 2 inches. So they can be really big, or they can be really tiny. Or carpenter ants who build their nests in rotting wood. So these guys were building their nests underneath the sidewalk, and carpenter ants build their nest in rotting wood. Very smart. Keeps them nice and safe. There are small ant cities with just a few ants. There are big ant cities with many, many ants. Ants have been found at the tops of the highest buildings and on ships at sea. Ants can make their cities almost anywhere. Look around and you'll probably find an ant city busy with ants. And this is all about how you can learn more about ant cities and make your own little ant farm, all kinds of stuff. So again, this was Ant Cities, written and illustrated by Arthur Dorros. And this book is actually available in our gift shop. If you really enjoyed it, I encourage you to come by and pick up your very own copy of it. If you have time or if you're out and about tomorrow, we have outdoor play starting at 10 a.m., which is a come and go kind of program, and we'll be playing with dirt in front of the Nature Center, and we hope to see you all there. Thank you so much for joining me for Storytime, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.